Have you ever wondered why some women seem to grow increasingly frustrated with their husbands as the years go by? It's a reality many long-term couples experience. What once felt like a strong bond can sometimes turn into daily irritation, silent resentment, or even outright hostility. But why does this happen? Why do so many women, after decades of marriage, find themselves feeling disconnected, exhausted, or even resentful toward the very person they once chose to spend their lives with? In this video, we're going to explore the deep-rooted reasons behind this shift from evolving emotional needs to years of unspoken frustration. There are specific patterns that cause marriages to drift into tension over time. Many of these changes happen so gradually that neither person realizes what's happening until one day, the warmth is gone, replaced by resentment, frustration, or even regret. But here's the truth. Understanding these patterns can help you see things more clearly, whether it's your own marriage or someone else's. By recognizing these signs, there's still a chance to change course, to reconnect, and to create a relationship that feels fulfilling again. Stay with me until the very end because the reasons behind this shift might surprise you. These aren't just complaints or passing irritations. There are deeper psychological and emotional factors at play, ones that have been shaping relationships for years without people even realizing it. By the time we're done, you may see your own marriage or even past relationships in an entirely new light. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend hitting that button and turning on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If you don't, type 0 to let me know so I can make better content for you. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Years of emotional labor without appreciation. One of the biggest reasons women begin to resent their husbands as they age is the weight of emotional labor. Years of tending to the relationship, managing the household, and caring for the family, often without acknowledgement or appreciation, take a toll. Emotional labor isn't just about physical tasks like cooking meals or cleaning the house. It's about the unseen mental and emotional work that holds a marriage together, remembering birthdays, keeping track of family schedules, smoothing over conflicts, and ensuring everyone else's needs are met. These responsibilities often fall on women, and after decades of carrying this load, exhaustion sets in. Many men assume that because they worked hard to provide financially, they've done their part. But a marriage is about far more than financial support. It's about effort showing up emotionally, making a woman feel valued for everything she does. If a woman spends decades handling the kids, managing the home, and keeping up with social obligations while her husband never truly sees or acknowledges that effort, resentment quietly builds. Take someone like Carol, a 72-year-old retired teacher. For years, she balanced raising 3 children, working full-time, and making sure her husband's life ran smoothly. Every holiday, she planned the meals. Every birthday, she picked out gifts. She remembered doctor's appointments, maintained friendships for both of them, and kept their life comfortable and organized. But looking back, she realized something. No one had ever done the same for her. Her husband never once asked if she needed help or thanked her. Now, decades later, she doesn't feel loved, she feels exhausted. What makes emotional labor so frustrating is that it's invisible. A woman can spend her entire marriage ensuring everything runs smoothly, but if her husband never acknowledges that effort, he'll never understand why she's grown distant. It's not that she suddenly changed, it's that she reached her limit. There's also the issue of how appreciation changes over time. In the early years of marriage, small gestures might have been enough: a thank you here, a compliment there. But after decades, if a husband assumes his wife will always handle everything without effort on his part, she starts to feel more like a caretaker than a partner. And when that feeling sets in, love starts to fade, replaced by frustration and emotional exhaustion. Here's the truth. Women don't just wake up one day and decide to resent their husbands. Resentment is built in small moments over years of feeling unseen. If this sounds familiar, or if you've ever felt unappreciated in your relationship, know you're not alone. Number 2. Feeling like a roommate instead of a wife. As the years go by, many women begin to feel like they're living with a roommate, not a husband. That shift is incredibly painful. In the early years of marriage, there's excitement, passion, and deep emotional connection. But over time, if both partners stop putting effort into the relationship, the romance fades, leaving a partnership that feels like two people simply coexisting. For many women, this change happens gradually. At first, it might just be a few missed date nights or a lack of deep conversations. Then routine sets in: the same schedules, The same patterns, the same surface-level interactions until one day, she realizes she and her husband are no longer truly connected. They may eat meals together or watch TV in the same room, but the intimacy is gone. She no longer feels desired or seen, just a housemate, not a wife. Take Linda, a 69-year-old retired nurse. Early in her marriage, she and her husband laughed together, took long walks, and shared dreams. But over time, conversations grew shorter. He stopped asking about her day, spent more time watching TV, and eventually, they began living parallel lives together, yet separate. The worst part? He didn't even notice. To him, nothing had changed. To Linda, everything had. This shift happens because many men assume that once they're married, the work is done. They forget that relationships require ongoing effort to thrive. When a woman feels emotionally disconnected for years, it doesn't just make her lonely, it makes her resentful. Women need emotional intimacy as much as physical intimacy. They need to feel wanted, appreciated, and engaged in meaningful conversations. A husband who stops making an effort, who stops flirting, complimenting, or showing genuine interest slowly becomes someone his wife resents. Because when a woman no longer feels desired, she begins to wonder, why am I even here? Many women try to fix this before giving up. They express their needs, ask for more connection, more affection. But if those requests are ignored or met with indifference, she stops asking. And once a woman stops trying to reconnect, the emotional distance becomes permanent. If this resonates with you, comment 2 below. Your engagement helps me create more content that supports you. Number 3. Unresolved conflicts that have built up over the years. One of the most damaging reasons women begin to resent their husbands as they age is the accumulation of unresolved conflicts, small arguments, disappointments, and emotional wounds that were never truly addressed. Over time, these unresolved issues don't just disappear. They build up, creating layers of frustration that turn into deep-seated resentment. Many couples fall into the habit of ignoring problems instead of solving them. Maybe it starts with small things, a dismissive comment, a forgotten anniversary, an argument left hanging. At first, a woman might let it go, thinking it's not worth the fight. But as the years pass, those little disappointments start to pile up, a forgotten apology here, an unmet expectation there, until she realizes her husband has hurt her in 1,000 small ways. None of them big enough to break the marriage on their own, but together, they create a distance that feels impossible to cross. Take Patricia, a 74-year-old retired accountant, married for over 40 years. Her marriage seemed stable on the outside, but inside, she carried years of resentment. She remembered every time her feelings had been dismissed, every time her needs had been minimized, every broken promise. She brought up her frustrations before, but they were always brushed aside with, "You're overreacting," or "That was years ago, why bring it up now?" Over time, she stopped arguing, stopped expecting change, and stopped seeing her husband as someone who truly cared about her feelings. This pattern is heartbreakingly common. Many women hold on to hurt because they never receive closure. When a man repeatedly ignores or minimizes his wife's concerns, he sends a clear message, intentional or not, that her feelings don't matter. That kind of emotional neglect builds resentment like nothing else. Even more dangerous is how unresolved conflict changes how a woman sees her husband. At the start of a marriage, there's love, admiration, and partnership. But when conflicts go unaddressed, those positive feelings fade. The man she once saw as her best friend becomes someone who doesn't listen, who dismisses her needs, more of an adversary than a partner. The worst part? Many men don't even realize this is happening. They mistake silence for peace, not realizing it's actually a sign their wife has given up on being heard. If you've ever thought, why bother bringing it up? No, you're not alone. Number 4. A shift in priorities that leaves her feeling unfulfilled. As women age, their priorities and desires evolve, often in ways their husbands fail to notice or adapt to. What once felt fulfilling, raising children, managing a home, supporting a spouse's career, can start to feel like a closed chapter. Many women reach a stage where they want more, deeper connection, personal growth, or newfound independence. But when their husbands remain stuck in the same routines, it creates a painful divide. For years, many women put their own dreams aside for their families. They focused on stability, on making sure everyone else was taken care of. But once the kids are grown and the household demands ease, they look around and realize something is missing. And if their husbands haven't grown alongside them, if they still expect the same dynamic as 20 years ago, it leaves women feeling trapped in a life that no longer fits. Helen, a 68-year-old retired librarian, understood this too well. After decades of family-focused school projects, vacations, keeping the home warm, she now wanted to travel, join social groups, and explore hobbies. But her husband was content to sit in front of the TV every night. When she suggested doing something new, he'd say, "I'm happy the way things are." What he didn't realize, she wasn't. This is where resentment takes root. A woman who spent her life putting others first starts to realize no one is doing the same for her. She craves fulfillment, but if her husband refuses to engage, she begins to see him as an obstacle rather than a partner. The issue isn't just changing priorities. It's that many men don't recognize the shift until it's too late. They assume their wives will always be content in the same role, failing to see she's outgrown it. Aging should be a time of new possibilities, not stagnation. If you've ever felt like you're growing while your husband stands still, you're not alone. Comment 4 below if this resonates. Your feedback helps me create more helpful content. Number 5. Lack of emotional and physical affection. One of the most painful reasons women grow resentful is the slow loss of affection, both emotional and physical. At the start of a relationship, there are hugs, kisses, playful, flirting gestures that make a woman feel cherished. But as years pass, many husbands grow complacent, forgetting affection isn't just for newlyweds, it's the glue that keeps love alive. Sharon, a 71-year-old retired secretary, remembered when she and her husband held hands walking, when he'd touch her back as they talked, when hugs came unprompted. Now, he barely looks at her. Conversations are transactional: bills, errands, the weather. When she said, "I miss how we used to be," he replied, "We're too old for that now." That dismissiveness cut deeper than silence. What many men don't understand, affection isn't just about romance. It's about emotional security. Women don't stop needing to feel beautiful or adored. When a husband stops initiating warmth, his wife doesn't just feel lonely, she feels invisible. And that invisibility breeds resentment. Physical intimacy naturally evolves with age, but emotional neglect is a choice. A husband who no longer compliments, flirts, or shows interest sends a clear message: you don't matter to me like you once did. Many women try to fix this. They hint, they ask outright, but if met with indifference, they eventually stop asking. And when a woman stops asking for love, it's not because she doesn't want it. It's because she's accepted she won't get it. If you've ever ached for a touch that never comes, know your needs are valid. Number 6. Feeling taken for granted. Few things erode love faster than the crushing weight of being taken for granted. Women often spend decades preparing meals, remembering dates, managing households, only to realize their efforts have become expectations, not appreciated gestures. Nancy, a 72-year-old retired principal, saw this clearly. For years, she'd made her husband's favorite meals, kept their home orderly, handled countless unseen tasks. But over time, the thank yous disappeared. One day, after cooking for hours, she asked, "Do you even notice what I do for you?" His shrug said it all. He didn't. Resentment here isn't about one big moment. It's 1,000 small ones. When a woman's contributions go unnoticed, she starts to withdraw. She stops laughing as much, stops initiating conversations, not to punish him, but because she's emotionally drained. Appreciation isn't complicated. A simple "I see you" or "thank you" can bridge the gap. But when those words vanish, so does the connection. If you've ever felt like an invisible force in your own marriage, know this: your work matters. You matter. Comment 6 below if you felt this way. I read every response. Number 7. Realizing you've grown apart. The most heartbreaking resentment comes from looking at your husband one day and realizing he's a stranger. This doesn't happen overnight. It's years of neglected conversations, unshared growth, and emotional distance piling up until the chasm feels too wide to cross. Margaret, 74, remembered when she and her husband talked for hours about dreams and fears. Now, he grunts at the TV while she tries to discuss her book club. She's not asking for grand gestures just to be seen. But when attempts at connection are met with indifference, women stop trying. They mourn the marriage they once had, grieving the man who used to care. Love isn't passive. It requires choosing each other daily. If you've ever felt alone in a room with your husband, know this: you deserve more than coexistence. You deserve a partner who grows with you. Resentment in marriage doesn't mean love is dead. It means something needs to change. Whether it's speaking up, demanding appreciation, or redefining your path forward, your feelings are valid. You're not alone in this journey. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these resonated most? Share in the comments. Your stories inspire this community. If this video helped, please like, subscribe, and share. Together, we can create conversations that heal.